Life is simply just war. That's all it is. Life is war. And if you don't understand this as a man, you're going to get stuck in perpetual mediocrity. You're going to get stuck just not doing what you really, really need to do in life to be able to excel. You're not going to live the life that you truly want because you're not acknowledging that all of the life that we live is war. And what does that mean? War is simply just a series of battles. And life is simply a series of battles. So many battles that you have to go through, so many different psychological operations that are being hit. I call them psyops that are being just thrown at you left and right, and you have no idea. Imagine a man who's not aware that he's at war and he goes into the battlefield not even knowing it's a war, and he gets blown up by a grenade or he gets blown by a tank. That's how a lot of men are moving right now because they're not awake at the fact that we live in a warlike state. We live in a warlike reality where everything that is going up against you is highly calculated to make sure that you as a man will never win the war. You will die and you will never win the war. Now, how do you solve this? How do you actually win the war of life if life is a war? Well, first you have to have a war map. You have to understand where you're going. You have to understand what position you want to take. You have to figure out what your strong suit is. In a war, each person plays a specific role. Each person has a specific strong suit. You have generals, right? Generals are now the people who manage the soldiers, right? Because they have managerial experience. You have the soldiers who are really good at fighting, right? And they're really good at the physical side of things. They go and have combat with people, right? And when you get into advanced warfare, you look at drones. In the future, believe it or not, the actual physical wars that we're going to experience from a holistic perspective, from like a real war perspective, will be drones. And there will be people who build those drones. Again, that's finding your position, finding your strengths. But even before this, you have to understand that war itself starts internally. It's an internal war. And once you understand that it's an internal war, that's when everything else will start to click. Because too many men, they don't realize that they're in this life of war, and they try to go and wage war with society, with life, but they've never waged war with themselves. And I'm telling you right now, you have to wage war with yourself every day, with your mind and with your body. Those are the two things that you're competing with, that you're actually fighting against left and right every single day. And then once you've mastered the mind and the body, then you go wage war on the world, and you inflict on the world. Inflict your doctrines, inflict your actual capabilities, inflict on the world, right? That's when you build the war chest, which is your bank account. But you can't do any of these things until you finally gotten to the point where you're literally building your body, building your mind, you're fighting your mind. Your mind is literally a minefield of all of these different traps, all of these different thoughts that pop up in your head. You have to be able to avoid those traps. You have to be able to disarm those traps. You have to reverse them into something that's positive in your mind. Your mind is a minefield. It's hard. It's a very hard battle to win. The physical battle is the next battle. You have to be able to build your body. You have to be able to compete and fight against your body, against the weakness in your body every single day physically to win. You have to be able to eat very clean. You have to be able to train extremely hard and get the results that you want in the body, because that body is going to help you go wage war on the world. When you have optimal health, when you're able to command presence, command attention in life, you're going to win. You're going to win the war. But you have to dial in on that aspect, on the mental and the physical, because that's you waging war on yourself. Then once you've mastered waging war on yourself, you've won those battles, those series of battles, you go and you wage war on the world. You build your war chest. You take on the psychological operations, the psyops that exist, the media machine that's constantly just throwing things at you, throwing grenades at you, having a tank and trying to blow you up. You might be in the trenches and they literally have a tank just trying to blow you up in the trenches. And you have to be able to compete with that. You have to be able to battle that, win that battle, win that war. And you have to be able to show your value. You have to be able to create more value so that you can build your war chest. Because at any point in time, something can happen and your entire war chest gets blown up and you have nothing. You have no more resources. So you have to always be building the war chest. You always have to have defense mechanisms. How do you set up your company if you run a business? Okay, you have an LLC. Okay, you have a holding company in a different place that can basically help you create some sort of a corporate structure to where you're not constantly getting wrecked with your war chest by governments. It gets so deep. It gets really, really deep when you think about it. And most men don't understand this. Most men don't understand how massive this war of life is, to where you need to start to actually build. There's women. That's another war. That's psychological operations. Women are psyoping you, trying to basically see how you are, trying to test you psychologically to see if there's a way that they can actually be able to win against you and to be able to basically numb you down. That's their job, is to literally go to war with you psychologically. And the men who know how to win those battles psychologically always get the woman that they want. The men who went to war within themselves can finally now wage war on society and win. War doesn't have to be violent, by the way, because the game of life, the war of life, is not a violent war. It's very subtle. And this is why it's so powerful, because it's extremely subtle. It's not something that you can pick up on. It's not something that you can see very clearly and you know, oh yeah, I'm getting a grenade thrown at me. Oh, my house just blew up. It's not that type of war. It's a very subtle war. And everything that you go through is a psychological operation to basically sabotage your mind. You scrolling on social media is a psychological operation trying to basically hijack your mind so that you stay in a perpetual state of consumption and you never produce anything. And you never build the war chest because you're stuck in a state of consumption, helping other people build their war chests instead of building your own. And I'm telling you this right now, I didn't realize that this was a war until I built my body. Until I built my body, I didn't even realize I was in a war. Because once I built the body, I realized, wow, there are so many things going on in this world right now. Why do I feel like that? Because I started to be more self-aware. I started to be more self-aware of how people treated me after I got in shape versus before, because I had an inkling. I was like, well, if I get in shape, I'll get more attention from women. I'll become more respected in my social circles. I'll have more authority, and I'll have a skill set that I can teach other people. But I didn't realize how evident this war was. I didn't realize it. And I was constantly getting hit with grenades. I was constantly getting hit with psychological operations. To this day, constantly getting hit with psychological operations. People trying to manipulate. People trying to manipulate emotions that I have. People trying to manipulate me to do things that they want to build their war chests. And I have to go to war with these people all of the time. I have to go to battle with these people so that I can continuously excel in winning the war of life. The thing is, you might be saying, well, Martel, when is this war going to be over? When you're dead. As a man, you will always be at war, but you always have to be war ready. You always have to be war ready. I remember, and the reason I'm talking about this now is because I was watching one of my old videos. If you go back, just type in Martel Mattel's Life is War. I had this initial video before I started becoming consistent in February. And I made this random video because I just wanted to test out YouTube. I wasn't really serious about it. And the title was Life is War. And it really reminded me what the purpose of me moving through life was and why I was designed, what I was created for. And it was to awaken men like you who are very ambitious, who may have some success in life, but you haven't really analyzed life as a war. You felt it, but you've never actually been able to conceptualize how everything you're going through is a war. And you've never created a war map to be able to actually design how you're going to win this war of life perpetually. Because it's a perpetual war, right? How you're going to beat out psychological warfare, psychological operations that get hit at you left and right, with women, with media, with other men who are trying to scam you, who are trying to manipulate you. You've never understood that. And I realized, well, wow, that is essentially the thing, because I've always watched war videos. I've always watched war movies. I've always related to the soldiers at war. I've always watched Greek mythology. I've always read Greek mythology. I've always looked at wars against the gods versus the Titans. I've always watched this, Olympians versus Titans. I've watched these things and I've always been so intrigued by them because it reminded me of real life. It reminded me of the wars that we face as men on a day-to-day basis that we don't even know. And the easiest way to lose a war is not to have awareness that you're even in a war in the first place. And that's why it's so dangerous now more than ever before, because everything is a psychological operation. Everything is basically trying to rewire your identity into being weak, just weak, obedient, and not actually being able to dominate your own life. Making sure that you're numbed down to nothing to the point where you can't even solve your own problems. You can't even get out of your own head. I've experienced this. Every single day, there's a distraction. Every single day, there's some idiot that's trying to basically psychologically manipulate me to build their war chest. Every day, you're gonna face this as a man. And the more that you can accept this, smile in the trenches, smile and keep going, smile and keep throwing your grenades, smile and keep fighting, you will eventually win the war. And what does winning the war look like? When you're on your deathbed, you understand, what did I do? Did I become the best version of myself? That's one. Two, did I inflict myself into the world and wage war on the world and give the world the truth that it needed? Did I inspire millions of people based on what I did in my life? Did I procreate? Did I extend my bloodline? Do I have children who have adopted my philosophies, my theories, my concepts, my frame of reference of the world? And will they surpass me? Have I equipped them to surpass me? I'm going deep right now because this is genuinely winning the war of life. That's what it is. You've won the war of life when you sit on your deathbed and you've knocked all of these down. You've built enough of a war chest to where your children are set up. Your life, the people who supported you, your wife, your whoever supported you. And now they have a war chest that they can actually compete and they can fight in life the way that you did and win easier. Did you give them the weapons? That's what you're going to start to think about when you die. I always reflect on my deathbed. I always have these random thoughts of when I'm in my deathbed, what am I going to say? What am I going to think about? I'm not going to care about the cars. I'm not going to care about the houses. I'm not going to care about anything else. But did I become the best version of myself? Did I inspire other people to become the best version of themselves and help them do it? And did I build an army of children, or did I have a bloodline that's going to be extended? See, you have to understand that is your mission in life. That is your entire masculine duty, is to wage war on the world after you've waged war on yourself. Inflict yourself and fucking win. Win the war. Because it's perpetual. It will continuously pop up. There will be new weapons that are designed to destroy you as a man. And you have to understand this, and you have to penetrate the world, and you have to be on offense. Too many of you are playing defense. You're playing defense in this war. You have this shield, and you're trying to avoid it, but you're never inflicting yourself on the world. You're never putting yourself out there. You're never going to build your war chest. You're trying to protect this tiny little war chest that you have. Maybe you have a 9-to-5 job, and you're trying to save. Go earn. Go build a war chest. Go inflict yourself into the world. Become a deadly weapon. Become somebody who's formidable, because that's the only way you're going to win. And the thing with war is that when you're at war, you always have to balance it out with certain hobbies, right? I have hobbies, piano, right? I play the piano. I make videos, right? I have these things that balance me out because the warlike man needs to be balanced out. I have a woman with me, right? So I can have that romantic side to me while I'm fighting the war of life, because that's going to fuel you to keep going. You will burn out if you don't have these hobbies. It's just a bonus tip. But I say all of this because I just got back to the roots, man. I got back to the roots of why I started this whole thing, why I created this whole channel. Getting jacked was one thing. It was one aspect. You dominate yourself, you can finally start to dominate the world. If you have not dominated yourself, if you have not built yourself up to be a formidable weapon, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you will never win. You will never win the war of life. You will always fall short. And until you can do that, until you can build yourself up and you can build the war chest that you need and you can start to impact millions of people, that is when you've won the war. When you start to raise children that follow your philosophies, that look at you as a hero, they look at you as somebody that they want to be like, because that's your job as a man, is to be a hero to your children, to your wife, to whoever it is that you have, the girlfriend, I don't care what you call her. It's time for you to win. It's time for you to dominate the war of life. If you keep sleepwalking, you're going to sleepwalk to your death and wonder, why did I lose this war? When you die, if you believe in God, you face God, God's going to say, well, this is who you could have become. You didn't do that. This is the impact you could have had on the world. This is how you could have inflicted damage on the world in a positive way. Inflicted damage on the negative forces of the world. This is how you could have fought for me. But you didn't do it. I'm telling you this right now, and I'm not religious. I just understand the purpose. I understand what you're designed to do. And I will keep doing this because this is what I was designed to do. I was designed to make warriors. I was designed to be on here and impact millions of people. You know what that looks like. You know what it is for you. You know what you were designed to do. And you have to go after it. I hope this video was valuable. Link will be in the description if you're interested in learning more, connecting with me, right? Whether it's a private one-on-one call to build out your war map, whatever that looks like, build it out. We'll see basically what you need. We'll see where you're currently at, what your weaknesses are, what you need to improve on, build you out an entire war map to be able to dominate your life. We'll do all that. You can join the Forge as well, which is my mentorship group with my guys that I'm literally building physique. I'm building the command. I'm building their entire mind. I'm rewiring their identity, helping them build their brand so that they can inflict themselves onto the world. All that stuff will be in the description. I appreciate you. And I'll catch you on the next one.